Hello, and thank you for this opportunity to do this toe reading. When we read toes, we're reading the past and the present. And from that, we can make general assumptions about the future because the path that you're on, unless you choose to change it, can lead to future outcomes. But primarily, we're looking at past and how that relates to the present. The toes contain the energies of our bodies. And sometimes we've released things out of our bodies, emotional and spiritual um, things that we've moved through our body energies, and they still show up in the toes because the toes are like a timekeeper. They are a record keeper for this life. And we can release it, and it brings more health, more satisfaction, more joy, and more fulfillment as we completely move these energies out of our bodies. And it can also indicate areas to work on and areas of weakness and areas of strength. So the toe reading is never about aesthetics. It's always about how the energy is running. And so this isn't when we talk about moving the toes and getting them more aligned. I want to make sure that this message is very clear. Never about aesthetics. It's always about energetic alignment. So when we're looking at the toes, the left foot is about internal and the right foot is about external. So internal dialogue, internal action, your spirit path, these are all themes of the left foot. The right foot, this is how you show up in the world and how others experience you in this world and how you're moving through this world. And so this is your life path toe. This is your spirit path toe, external, internal. This is communication with others, communication with self, action for self, action in the world, relationships with others, relationship with self, and then trust and prosperity are those little toes. You are here as a generational chain breaker. I've seen your astrology chart. I've read your goddess report. And it is absolutely amazing and impactful. You bring into this lifetime with you so much karmic energy, generational energy um, from the beginning of time. You might know this about yourself. If not, we're going to talk about this a whole lot more because I have rarely seen a person that is so destined to be a generational chain breaker of what no longer works and really bring in the new earth. So I invite you to take that into your heart, embrace that. It is written in your stars and it is written in your toes. So let's first of all talk about your life path and your spirit path. So in your life path, there is this turning this way and this looking to the future. When the toes are looking at the little toes, that's future looking. So there's some presence here that will be very beneficial for you. So getting into the present, what are you looking for in the future? And when we look at this is a generational pattern. Um, you know, we go through the school system and the whole point of that is what? So that we can be adults or we go through a training of any kind, and the whole purpose of that is for the future. We have all this future thinking, and we do want to look in the future, and we also want to be very grounded in the present. And I know that you know this, and your toes, there's an energy. So you might know this and know this, but there is still an energy in you of not knowing this, not feeling this, not embodying this yet. And I'm going to show you some ways that you can do this in a very powerful and impactful way. And in fact, I would love to see a photo of your toes in 4 weeks because they're already shifting. From the moment you sent in this photo for this reading, they started shifting and they will continue to shift. And here are some ways that you can shift this energy even more quickly. And it is amazing what will come into your mind as you work with the toes. So, this life path toe, I would recommend holding right there and then gently massaging out and inviting the energy. We're never pushing the energy. We're not trying to get the toes to do anything. We're just What would the energy be like if it was tracking in a more straight and aligned way? And then gently moving across the top of that toenail, across that top of the toenail, because the toenail is also pointing towards the future. So that is going to really help with those ideas and those mantras and those questions of getting more aligned and present right now. What in my life path can shift to bring me into greater alignment? What can I bring in to bring me into greater alignment? Am I present now? Doing this outside with your feet close to the earth would be even more beneficial. So, as part of your self care routine, and the thing is, if you just do this in the shower or before you go to bed, or when you wake up in the morning, just finding a time to do this, you're just going to see massive shifts and it's going to be super exciting. So, what will happen when you do this is it's going to open up this channel of intuition. The space between your first and second toes is, excuse me, that's on your left foot. On your right foot is your channel of leadership. From everything I know about you, you are absolutely a leader. And I know that you are a generational leader, a leader of your generations. Um, I'd be curious to have a conversation with you about your guides. How many of them are ancestors? And I would also invite you to bring into, when you invite guides and ancestors, healthy ancestors and ancestors who desire healing energetically. Actually seeing a few ancestors that are like, oh, no, 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 living in their past, in their experience, loving you, trying to keep you safe, but also holding you back a little bit. So, healthy ancestors, ancestors who desire healing, ancestors who support you in your current life path. And the great thing is as you do your work, you're helping all the ancestors too. Opening up this channel of leadership, your leadership is going to just like skyrocket and um, in your life path. So that's people that are with us now and people who brought us to this point because they're our generational ancestors. Your spirit path, toe, has a very similar look to it. But if you look at this nail, it is slightly healthier than this nail. So your spirit path, you've had some shifts in spirit path. Same exercise here. What can I do now in my spirit path? What am I being guided to do in my spirit path? Guides, healthy ancestors, ancestors who desire healing, supportive ancestors, lead me on my spirit path as you go through. And again, thumb across here, inviting this toe to track more straight in a more energetically aligned way. And look what that's going to do. Sorry about that. That's going to open your channel of intuition. So, by having these energies lined straight, leadership and intuition going to increase exponentially. Let's look at your communication toes. Communication with self, communication with others. And we can see when we look at these in contrast with each other that there are some differences. So um, you are largely communicating well with yourself, honestly with yourself. And there is some blocked energy. I feel like this is probably from the past, maybe in the past when you haven't communicated with yourself as honestly or with as much curiosity, compassion as you do now. And so releasing that. And so that's just gently massaging mostly the tip of this toe and inviting the energy to just track in a more straight way, rubbing across the top of this toe. Again, just releasing patterns from the past of communication with self that no longer serve you. When we look at communication with others, you are a high communicator. You've got these longer second toes than first toes. So, high communication. Communication is very, very important to you. And are you over communicating? When I say that, what I mean is do you have time for your own self in your own practices to be in stillness and to be quiet? I could see you being a main stage speaker and protecting your own energy so that it's not leaking out could really be beneficial because there's a little bit of an exhaustion energy to this toe. And we see that this toe is definitely looking to the future. There's a big curve and it is different from this one. So with this toe, definitely massaging the whole thing. This is also how you communicate. So Releasing maybe ways that you've been criticized for communicating in the past. Assessing, is the way that you're communicating now a cover for ways that you really feel? And when does this show up? How does this show up? With who, with whom do you feel that you can truly communicate deeply and without judgment? And how do you hold that space for others? By asking these questions and other questions that come to mind and other experiences that come into your mind while you gently massage this toe, and bring it into more alignment, that's really, I'm so excited to see what that does. It's going to bring communication into alignment, so fewer words to say the same thing. More deep and true expression of your true, authentic self. More love and compassion for self and for others. Now, when we look at this, we see that both of these are from the top knuckles. All of this is from the top knuckle. So this is in this last third of your life. So going and looking, this could be like the weight of becoming aware of your huge impact when it comes to generational healing. This could be experiences with people, um, experiences with institutions and hierarchies and authority figures that could have led to this. So, what happened at about the third point of your life, breaking your life up into three parts, going back one of those? What was happening at that time, and what massive shifts occurred that are still impacting you now, and that you may be carrying energy around that you don't actually need to carry around anymore? Let's release that through the toes, through that intentional use of this tool. Action. You are an action taker. We see these straight action toes and they've got this little point on them. So you are definitely an action taker. And sometimes you feel blocked in your action. And that can be blocking of yourself and feeling like you're getting blocked from the outside. So you can also see that by aligning these communication expression toes, these action toes will really be able to move. There seems to be a lot of flexibility in the action toes. That can be an absolutely beautiful gift to be able to flow, to be able to be in this state of mutability. And sometimes we're so flexible that we don't realize that something is dysfunctional until it's so dysfunctional that can no longer be ignored. So, has that ever happened? And how does that happen now? Because you can adapt. In fact, adaptability and being in a situation where you're required to adapt, that's actually one of your superpowers and actually one of your needs to be able to think quick. And that's something that is a gift, and you build your life in a way that requires adaptation. Perhaps this could be through not planning or putting yourself in situations that require you to think quick and make snap decisions, um, because that requires hyper focus. And so getting grounded can relieve some of that, but there's still an element of fun to that. Never give up on that. Like, that's super fun. And where is it causing you undue stress? I'm literally just channeling what's coming in right now. So please pay attention to this. And remember, pay attention to how it feels in your body as I share these things that are coming in, um, from your guides, from your guides. Relationships. Relationships are very, very important to you. And if you have heart walls, bringing those heart walls into a place of healing, opening up that heart, where are you protecting yourself? Where are you shielding yourself from the potential of getting hurt in relationships? In what ways do you cover up through your self expression for the fact that you might be very scared of being hurt, very scared of being betrayed, very scared of not being seen for who you really are. Let's, with the deepest love and compassion, take off any masks that you have that is preventing people from seeing the true you, and it is preventing you from seeing the true you. And this is going to be a beautiful exercise to really pay attention to these relationship toes and shift this energy of relationship, because relationships are very important to you and you have some really good, solid relationships. In fact, in many ways, your relationships are what keep you grounded and what help you move through this life in such a powerful way. So, keeping those relationships, pruning relationships, planting seeds for new relationships, really focusing on relationships because that is an ongoing theme for you. And this relationship is with yourself, with your people, your circles, and with your ancestors. Mhm. Building a strong relationship with your guides and ancestors is really going to be a beautiful thing for you in this life. Let's look at trust and prosperity. Trust and prosperity for both of these toes. You do trust yourself and you can trust yourself. So, leaning into that self trust and releasing places where, maybe you were told you couldn't trust yourself. Again, looking at these authority figures as the ones who know all the things. That's just not true. And those authority figures can come in the form of a family member, an institution, a religion, school figures, like all of these things, and you can trust yourself. When it comes to prosperity and trusting yourself out in the world, rub this toe for even more prosperity. When I say prosperity, I mean all the good things that bring us fulfillment: health, money, relationships, um, spirituality, business. All these things are prosperity. So identifying what prosperity means to you is going to be a very, very powerful practice. And some of these heart walls, I don't know much about what's happened specifically in your life. And I'm going to invite you to open up vulnerably to people and trust at a deeper level. There are people in this world who are not perfect, so they might let you down, but there are people in this world who you can trust with your soul. Who are they? Let's identify who they are. When I say let's, I mean you and your guides and your people. Identify who are your allies, the people who are not perfect because we're human, but who do have your back, truly, and opening up. Because the lifetime cost of not trusting is far higher than the lifetime cost of trusting and occasionally being hurt. Because when we don't trust, it's to protect ourselves, and that costs way more. It's been a very interesting reading for me to do. Your guides were here, they were present, they are sharing this information, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm honored to be in your presence because you are a game changer.